Justin Jefferson is at a really strange point in his career. Just 5 days ago, we got a clip of him basically stopping on a live play, and now people are asking if that's really the same guy who made one of the greatest catches we've ever seen 3 years ago. Mike Florio and Chris Sims just broke this down on their show. From the lollygagging against Marlon Humphrey to the 4th and 18 catch that turned Jefferson into a superstar. Let's roll their first clip, and then I'll tell you what I think is really going on with Justin Jefferson and the Vikings.
This was just 5 days ago. This is the moment that there was some lollygagging from Justin Jefferson. And Paul Allen and I talked about this yesterday. This was not the play where the guy who caught the ball was down. That was the later interception where the guy was down and Justin Jefferson didn't pursue. This one, Marlon Humphrey was clearly live and Justin Jefferson did not pursue him. And that was a moment that was glaring because that's not Justin Jefferson. Do we have the 3-year anniversary of the? I thought we were going to show the 3-year anniversary of the catch of his life. That was yesterday.
Oh yeah.
That was the moment that he became a superstar. He was the AP Offensive Player of the Year that year, and here it comes. I believe here it comes.
Yeah,
here it is. 4th and long, 4th and 18. Kirk Cousins dials it up and lets it fly.
All right, so that's the contrast laid out in 30 seconds. On one side, you've got Justin Jefferson on a live play with Marlon Humphrey, ball carrier, clearly not down, and he just doesn't pursue. That stands out because, like Florio says, that's not Justin Jefferson. That's not the guy we know from the last few years. And then, immediately, they jump to the 3-year anniversary of the catch of his life. 4th and long, 4th and 18. Kirk Cousins just throws it up and Jefferson somehow rips the ball away in Buffalo. That was the moment he became a full-on superstar and offensive player of the year. So you're seeing two versions of the same player. The year 3 Jet who's making impossible plays and dragging his team to wins, and the year 6 Jet who's on tape not chasing down a live defender. That's why this conversation feels so heavy. It's not just one bad rep. It's how did we get from that guy to this body language? And that leads right into what Florio says next, the part that hurts the most if you're a Vikings fan.
But part of me is thinking maybe the other guys are just better now. Maybe it's not as easy. It's not like we're going to flip a switch. Maybe they've figured out how to defend him. Maybe 3 years later, 3 years older, 3 years of wear and tear, maybe. I have to force myself to articulate these words, but I think we at least have to account for the possibility. As we're trying to diagnose the problem and search for a solution. One of the possible explanations is that guy don't work here no more. You're not that guy anymore. You're not going to be that guy again. And we've seen candles burn very brightly and then not. And it reminds me of what Lawrence Taylor said to Bill Parcells late in his career. Now, that's an extreme example, but this is why I'm thinking of this. Lawrence Taylor went to Bill Parcells and he said, man, these young kids are fast. What's gotten into these young kids? It's like, no, Lawrence, you're slowing down.
That is brutally honest TV right there. Florio basically puts every uncomfortable possibility on the table. Maybe the other guys around the league are just better now. Maybe defenses have figured him out. Maybe 3 more years of hits and mileage have taken just enough off the top. And then he goes all the way to, that guy doesn't work here anymore. You're not that guy anymore. You're not going to be that guy again. That's a scary sentence when we're talking about a receiver in just his 6th year. But he's right about one thing. We do have to at least consider that window. In the NFL, we've seen candles burn incredibly bright and then fade faster than anyone expected. The Lawrence Taylor story is the perfect example. LT goes to Parcells and says, these young kids are fast. And Parcells basically tells him, no, you're slowing down. Sometimes it's not the league getting crazy. Sometimes it's you losing just enough of that edge. Now, personally, I don't think Justin Jefferson is washed. I don't think he's suddenly an average receiver. But if you watch the tape and listen to what he's saying, I need to get back to year 3 Jet. It's clear he knows he's not playing at the level he once did. The big question is that on Jefferson himself, or is it everything collapsing around him in Minnesota? And that's exactly where Chris Sims pushes back in the next part.
It can be considered, but I think his situation is just worse. His situation is worse than it was in year 3. And I know this is controversial because it's Kirk Cousins. And who is ever happy with Kirk Cousins? And how many times do we hear about Kirk Cousins not delivering in primetime games? Well, Kirk Cousins delivered enough. He delivered enough where Justin Jefferson could be Offensive Player of the Year and put up some incredible numbers. Who threw that ball on 4th and 18? That was Kirk Cousins. So if you think about what's happened, Cousins, the Achilles, and then you go to, you had so many different quarterbacks just trying to piece it together when Cousins was out. And then you go to
Jaron
JJ
Hall, Josh
McCarthy.
Dobbs,
Nope.
Nick Mullins.
Yeah. And then hey, we're going to draft JJ McCarthy. Nope. It's not going to be JJ McCarthy. It's going to be Sam Darnold. Hey, we have Sam Darnold. Nope. It's going to be back to JJ McCarthy. He's hurt. Now we're on to Carson Wentz. Now we're back to JJ McCarthy. I think he's a great receiver. And I think most great receivers say, just throw me the ball. I can make any quarterback look good.
This is where I think Chris Sims absolutely nails it. He isn't saying Florio is crazy. He's just saying, before we declare you're not that guy anymore, we've got to look at the situation. And Jefferson's situation right now is clearly worse than it was in year 3. With Kirk Cousins, you had stability, timing, trust, the same quarterback finding you over and over again. That's how you end up as Offensive Player of the Year and make that legendary 4th and 18 catch. Cousins wasn't perfect, but he was good enough to consistently unlock Jefferson. Since the Achilles injury, it's been a carousel. Jaron Hall, Josh Dobbs, Nick Mullins, then the JJ McCarthy plan, then Sam Darnold, back to McCarthy, then Carson Wentz, and back again. That's not a development plan, that's survival mode. Even the way Sims lists the names feels chaotic, because that's exactly what Justin Jefferson has been living through. For a wide receiver, that kind of quarterback turnover is brutal. Every guy has different timing, different comfort levels, different reads, and some of them just aren't ready to play at a high level. So yeah, Jefferson says, just throw me the ball, I'll make any quarterback look good. And great receivers always feel that way. But there is a limit if your quarterback is late, hesitant, or doesn't understand how special you are. Your production is going to suffer no matter how elite you still are physically. And that sets up the real tension for the future. Justin Jefferson is in his prime. He's watching guys like Jamar Chase and A.J. Brown eat with stable quarterbacks. And he's stuck in the middle of a reset with no clear long-term answer at quarterback. How long is he going to tolerate that? How many more years is he willing to spend being the guy who could be Offensive Player of the Year again if only the Vikings finally get it right at quarterback? So here's where I land. I don't think year 3 Jet is gone forever. I still see that version of Justin Jefferson on tape in flashes. But for him to look like that again for a full season, the Vikings have to give him something he hasn't had since Cousins went down: stability and competency at quarterback. Now, I want to hear from you. Do you think Justin Jefferson is still a top 3 receiver in the NFL right now? And if you were him, would you trust JJ McCarthy and ride this out in Minnesota? Or would you be thinking about finding a new situation with a proven quarterback? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'm going to be reading everything. If you enjoy this kind of breakdown, reacting to what national shows say and going deeper into the story, make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next NFL video. See you in the next one.